Well, hey there, Bronco fans. It's Danny here from Bronco Planet with a Thursday edition of the Denver Broncos and the New York Jets. All right, let's keep this simple. As of late, the Denver Bronco offense has resembled something out of like the WAC or the Big Sky Conference. Not a real true NFL team that's only one game out of the AFC West lead. But I know, when in Rome, do as the blah, 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 blah. What makes this game interesting to me is that the Jets are not the Raiders, the Jets are not Miami, and they certainly aren't the Chiefs. Offensively, what makes this game a must-see is to find out what Mike McCoy is going to do against a defense that obviously has a great pass defense in Cromartie and Revis Island on one side and the other. And of course, their run defense is not too bad. Their defensive front line, pretty darn good, as well as their linebacking core. Well, there's one thing that I think we can all agree upon is that our defense is playing much better, even from a month ago. And just a quick little side note here. This goes out to those two drunk guys down at Jackson's on draft night who thought drafting Von Miller was a huge mistake over Nick Fairley and Marcel Darius. Here's a couple quick little stats for you. Marcel Darius, 26 tackles, not too bad, 2 sacks, pretty good for a rookie. Nick Fairley, 2 tackles, 0 sacks, has been injured, haven't really seen much of it. Von Miller, the guy that you were blasting into the cheap seats, 38 tackles, 8 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, up yours, and I told you so. Getting back to the offensive game plan for the Broncos, I really don't know what to expect, but I'll bet my mother's 50-state spoon collection that they start off first down with a run. Now, you certainly cannot deny how effectively the Broncos have run the football. Again, though, we were talking about the Raiders, the Chiefs, and Miami. The Jets practice squad, well, they're better than any of those teams that I just mentioned. So how do you game plan against the Jets? Well, personally, if it were up to me, I would get into Rex Ryan's head, try to throw Rex off of his game, maybe entice him with a number 32 combo platter from Casa Bonita, or better yet, some feet. You know, we here at Bronco Planet certainly cannot afford a foot model, so Shad was kind enough to lend his own. Yeah, Rex, how about getting some of those hairy, gnarled sausages? And I'm not talking about the combo platter at Casa Bonita either. And finally, on the injury side of things, Knowshon Moreno officially out, placed on the IR with a bum knee. ACL ruptured. Sucks because, you know, the one thing about Knowshon that I've appreciated about him this year is that he is running the ball hard. You saw him hurdling guys, making plays. Not good. Not feeling real good about that. Willis McGahee's a bit of a question mark for Thursday. Lance Ball is going to be carrying the rock. Love what Lance brings. He is a little bowling ball, appropriately named. He kind of reminds me of a small Ray Rice type of back, a Maurice Jones-Drew type of guy. So look for him to certainly get his touches. Tim Tebow, he'll get his when the defense allows it, so it should be an interesting game. First Thursday game for the Broncos this year, and only for that matter, so it should be exciting. Bronco Planet will certainly be down there. But for now, I'm going to throw it back to Shad and Chris at Bronco Planet headquarters. We're going to take a quick peek at the NFL as a whole halfway through the season. Take it away.
Always good hearing from you, Danny. Great segment as usual. Man, big game against the Jets. I am so pumped about tomorrow night. We're going to be down there at the stadium getting fired up, and I'm ready for those big mouth Jets. You'd think after the loss I took to the Patriots that those guys would shut up, but they've been talking all week, as the Jets do. Typical New Yorkers, so bring your big mouths to Denver. We'll see what Tebow has to say about it and whether he can step up to the big challenge. So we're going to take a little break here from the normal Bronco talk. We're one game past the midway point for the NFL, and we're going to go to Chris Carpenter, our NFL analyst, and ask him a few questions. So, Chris, you're ready to go on the hot seat. First question, what are some of the biggest surprises so far in 2011 for you?
Sure, Shad. I'll give you a couple as far as the biggest surprises. Let me give you 2 teams and 1 player. The biggest surprise, team-wise, has got to be the San Francisco 49ers. Jim Harbaugh is a miracle worker coming from Stanford, goes across the bay to the 49ers. They'll go from a 6-10 season last year to 8-1 with only that overtime loss to the Cowboys. He's done a phenomenal job getting that team together. There's a toughness with that team that we have not seen before. Patrick Willis, one of the best middle linebackers in football. And on the offensive side of the ball, Frank Gore, top 5 in the league in rushing. Alex Smith in the top 6 in terms of quarterback rating. Jim Harbaugh's a miracle worker. Maybe he shakes hands too hard. I don't know. But he's doing a great job with that team. The other surprise team, and maybe this doesn't necessarily qualify as a surprise, but one team that I've really liked this year are the Houston Texans. They seem to have that kryptonite from the Indianapolis Colts is finally gone with the Peyton Manning injury. And I think there was some thought that this team may let their foot off of the gas, knowing that Indy wasn't going to be a factor this year. But it's been just the opposite. This team is 7-3, coming off a 6-10 season last year. I think everyone here on Bronco Planet, we want to see Kubiak do well. We like Kubiak. We want to see him succeed, and this team right now is steamrolling through the AFC. I like their chances quite a bit when they get to the playoffs. For one thing, they have a great combination of being able to pound that ball with Arian Foster, and as soon as Andre Johnson gets healthy, they've got one of the best deep threats in all of the league. I think they're playing it right with Andre Johnson. Don't try to rush him back. Let him be fully healthy and then come back. Hopefully at some point this year, he beats up Cortland Finnegan again, because that was one of the great moments of last year. In terms of players, got to love a running back in his contract here that's trying to get paid, and that's Matt Forte. This guy's going to make a ton of money, whether it comes from the Chicago Bears or some other team in the league. This guy has turned into one of the best all-around running backs in the league. Top 5 in the league in rushing, just short of 1,000 yards now, almost 10 games in. He's also got 40 receptions. He's not found the end zone as much as maybe we would like with only 3 touchdowns, but he's turned into one of the premier all-around running backs. You can leave him on the field first and second down. He's also a good third down back because he can catch the ball. Those are the biggest surprises, the guys who have impressed me the most so far in the first half of the season.
All right, now, Chris, how about some of the biggest disappointments so far this year?
Well, biggest disappointment is just an absolute grease fire with the Philadelphia Eagles. Dream team, we heard Nnamdi Asomugha, Colin Jenkins, Vince Young, for whatever is that worth. But you go out today and you lose to the Arizona Cardinals. Are you kidding me? I love Andy Reid. He's my alma mater from BYU, but I don't know if he's lost this team. There seems to be a lot of tension on the offensive side of the ball. Deshaun Jackson sits out the game today because he slept through a meeting. Look, I slept through most of college and I didn't get kicked out of anything. This team, I don't know what it takes to fix this. Again, a great running game between Vic and between LaShawn McCoy, but I'm not a guy that thinks you can build an entire team around Michael Vick. We talked about it earlier on the show today, the same number of wins as Tim Tebow. When it talks about players now who have been super disappointing, I get a huge smile on my face when I think about how disappointing Phillip Rivers has been. It's been fantastic. I love watching that guy struggle. Who knows what it is, and frankly, I don't care. Probably it's partially Norv Turner. It's partially the offensive line getting hurt. It's a big dose of Darren Sproles not being in there anymore, nobody really to run the rock. Whatever it is in San Diego, I hope it continues because I love watching this guy struggle. And the great thing is there's nothing better than when he takes the helmet off and that ugly mug and he's got that pouty like it's not my fault. I don't care whose fault it is. You're horrible this year, and I couldn't be happier. The other guy, geez, you talk about a guy who's just turned into a train wreck this year, Chris Johnson. You hold out for the big money. Tennessee, I'm sure you're loving it that you paid this guy all that jack, and he hasn't done anything. 300 yards rushing going into this weekend. I know he had a big game today. Don't tell me that. I know. Everyone knew it was coming, a 100-yard-plus game today. But this guy's got to be the single biggest disappointment in the NFL this year so far.
Well, we've seen a lot of great play from a lot of great players so far in 2011. Chris, who do you think is kind of the front runner for the MVP?
Well, Chad, this is one guy who's going to win it, and then the rest of the field. So let me start with the field first. The second best player in the NFL right now is Calvin Johnson. This guy's been ridiculous. I drafted Megatron in this room, and I'm crushing our fantasy league. 11 touchdowns. The guy's just been on fire. Over 800 yards receiving. This guy's been fantastic. I love what he's doing. Hopefully, as Denver fans, we find another Georgia Tech receiver who starts to put up some similar numbers. Unfortunately, in this league, we don't ever really recognize the great defensive players. I'll give you two. Patrick Willis at San Francisco, who I think is the best linebacker in the NFL right now. And then a guy that's been somewhat controversial this year is Ndamukong Suh. Some people tell you that he's over the top, right? He's a cheap player. He's playing past the whistle. You know what? If he plays for your team, you love him. If you're playing against him, you hate him. If you're a Denver fan of Denver sports, he is Claude Lemieux. He's that guy from the Avalanche that's an agitator. He's getting under your skin, and frankly, I love it. We need more of that passion and that kind of play here in Denver. But all that is irrelevant because the MVP race is over. It's Aaron Rodgers, probably having one of the greatest single quarterback seasons we have ever seen in this league, completing over 70% of his passes. When they spread out the field, look at the tools he's got. Greg Jennings, Jermichael Finley, Jordy Nelson can swing it out of the backfield. This guy's unreal. Green Bay, I don't know if they're strong enough on the defensive side to repeat, but that offense is world class. I love watching Aaron Rodgers throw the ball around. 24 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. If there is a God in heaven, at some point we get Drew Brees against Aaron Rodgers again in the playoffs. Remember that very first Thursday night game this year was a classic. Hopefully at some point this year we get that same matchup in the playoffs.
Well, we are a Broncos show, so we've covered the other NFL items for now. Chris, what do you think so far, honestly, of the Denver Broncos in 2011?
Shad, you know what's the crazy thing is we're over the halfway mark, and I don't feel like I know anything more about this team than I knew going into week 1. Right? We know Kyle Orton's not going to see the field again this year, but do we really know that Tebow is the guy we want to run this ship for the next 10 years? I don't feel that way, and I haven't talked to John lately, but I don't think Mr. Elway is really sold on Tebow either. We know that this league is a passing league. I get that the W's are coming for Tebow, but I'm not sure how many more games this team can win by completing 2 passes and running the ball 55 times. I'm a bit sure we all love Lance Ball. Is that the guy that's going to win the AFC West? I don't know. On the defensive side of the ball, this team is okay. But as we've talked about before, Shad, there are holes in every position group on this team. Unless Doomerville starts getting to the quarterback on a more regular basis, we've got to fix some things on the defensive line. The linebacker core is okay. The secondary is okay. But there's not one positional group on that defense that you feel is set going into the fall of 2012. There's got to be some help coming in the draft. There's got to be some defensive help coming up in the draft.
All right, we got a big game. Yes, I'm very excited about Tim Tebow. I'm excited about the challenge. I'm not sure how it's all going to work out. I am kind of optimistic that maybe some good things are going to continue to happen, but maybe that's just me. The glass is always half full. But Chris, what are your thoughts? A tough team here with the Jets.
Yeah, Chad, again, we've established long ago that I don't know a lot about football. I don't know that you can run the ball 55 times on a Rex Ryan defense. I'm as curious as anyone to figure out what's going to happen Thursday night. My guess, if I'm Rex Ryan, I take Darrelle Revis and I tell him to go find Eric Decker every time the Bronco huddle closes, or they break the huddle and go to the line of scrimmage. I'm not really sure what's going to happen Thursday night. I'll tell you one thing: I don't have a good feeling. I know that, Shad, your favorite Tebow is 3-1, but those 3 wins are against teams with a combined 11-16 record: the Chiefs, the Raiders, and the Dolphins. 3 teams that are not going to make the playoffs. Can they win this game? Maybe, but I'll tell you, I don't have a good feeling going into Thursday night.
That's a bit of a buzzkill to end the show there, Chris, but I understand this is a tough game. But we're not going to let that get us down. I'm a guy that's like glass is half full. I feel optimistic about this game, and I'm excited to bring to you our commentary after the game. Instead of first thing in the morning, since it's such a late game, we'll have the show to you by 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we have a special guest that's going to co-host with me, talk about the big Jets game. So, Chris, Danny, appreciate everything. Bronco fans, this is it. This is a game that could change it. Finally back in the race in the AFC West. It'll be exciting to talk about if we get a win, and we're right back in the hunt of things. So we'll catch you out. Go Broncos. I know you can do it.